For families, the elderly, those on shoestring budgets, all with the need for decent, affordable housing, Improved Dwellings for Altoona has been creating and providing housing for 50 years. Housing needs aren't new in our community. In fact, IDA emerged as a community response to the overwhelming urban blight that threatened neighborhoods across Altoona in the 1960s. In the face of decaying neighborhoods, clergy concerned for better housing stepped forward to rescue families from substandard housing. The clergy committed themselves to putting their faith to work and took a bus tour of Altoona to see how bad the housing situation was. This was a pivotal event, and they were appalled by what they saw. As a result, the clergy raised $42,000 in seed money to begin their housing ministry, and Improved Dwellings for Altoona was created in 1968 to anchor this grassroots effort to improve housing. IDA was initially in the business of rehabilitating deteriorated housing, but switched gears a couple years later on the advice of David Clark, a consultant IDA had used in its early years, who said to build something new. IDA began concentrating on developing new housing, and Evergreen Manors opened in 1970 as the first new development that IDA constructed. Evergreen Manors consists of two separate sections that total 159 apartments for low-income families. It is still IDA's largest development and houses approximately 430 people, families, children, and neighbors.
I think it was basically the sense of community that was out here, and my kids would never want or need for anybody to play with, basically.
In addition to a manager, assistant manager, and 4 maintenance staff, Evergreen Manors also has a full-time supportive services coordinator that assists tenants with financial matters, basic counseling and support, education and vocation programs, and referrals to outside agencies. The Supportive Services Office also has a food bank that tenants can utilize if they need to.
They serve a school lunch here on grounds for the kids, and that's always nice, and it goes up until school starts, so always make sure the kids have a hot breakfast and a hot lunch.
Evergreen has partnered with the Gloria Gates Memorial Foundation to provide an after-school program, and most recently with Blair County Head Start to provide a classroom on site for Evergreen Manors 3 to 5-year-olds. IDA's elderly developments were constructed with the idea of creating not only a home for low-income elderly and disabled households, but a community that offers companionship and supportive services so that tenants can live independently longer. And IDA's first elderly development was IDA Tower in 1974.
And I found this apartment down here, and I really fell in love with the building and the people here.
In 1978, Blair Tower became IDA's second high-rise elderly building.
I used to have my own home up on Jackson, and I sold it. It became too much for me to take care of. So I decided, well, I'm going to get one of the towers, and to me this was the best tower that I could choose.
But even as these housing efforts were evolving, IDA still remained committed to its early focus on housing rehabilitation to keep neighborhoods intact. As IDA reached out to identify different needs, board members recognized the significance of preserving our community's heritage by adapting old structures to a new use, giving a new lease on life to aging landmarks. 2 buildings make up the Chateau project for low to moderate income families. In 1981, the former Brownie Company factory on Walnut Avenue and 27th Street in Altoona was converted into 31 apartments. That same year, Town Place, a large, dilapidated duplex, was made into 9 one-bedroom apartments. IDA led in the development of Harmony House in 1981, a subsidized housing family apartment building consisting of 12 units. Conversion of the Taylor Hotel in downtown Altoona and the former Fairview Elementary School in 1987 resulted in 52 apartments for low-income elderly and persons with disabilities. The IDACON scattered sites in Lexington Park Apartments in 1982 and 1983 were developed for very low-income families and to help revitalize the once proud neighborhood near Altoona's Center City by renovating old residential structures into modern apartments. Woodrow Wilson Gardens was constructed in 1993 in the Garden Heights area of Altoona on the site of the former Woodrow Wilson School.
I chose it because I worked for IDA for 24 years and I knew the maintenance personnel and our manager, and I knew what kind of people they were, and I loved the layout of the apartments out of all the buildings and the area it's in.
IDA converted a vacant building on Union Avenue in 2000 to provide housing for low-income persons with chronic mental illness. Although IDA's roots are in the city of Altoona, it has branched out to neighboring communities and counties over the past 50 years. IDA's two family developments, Washington Terrace in 1971 and Sylvan Acres in 1973, satisfied the affordable housing need in Tyrone. Mount Nittany Residences and State College was developed in 1980 through collaboration with Mount Nittany Park, who had concerns the housing needs for the elderly had not been met in that area. Emerald Estates was constructed in 1983 in Gallitzin to meet the housing needs of that community, while Country Manor was developed in 1985 in Duncansville. Bell Mansion Apartments was constructed in 1999 in Bellwood, and Black Diamond Estates was created in 2003 to house the elderly in Coalport.
Over the past 50 years, IDA has constructed, developed, and/or managed over 1,000 units in 4 counties. Our focus has shifted slightly over the past 10 years or so, with constructing or developing new housing to acquiring already existing housing that may need the expertise and experience that our staff can provide. In 2008, we started managing Marion House Manor, which is located behind the Altoona High School, and in 2012, we acquired Laurelwood Apartments, which is located in the Westmont section of Johnstown. Both of these properties were really struggling financially when we started working with them, and we were able to refinance their mortgages, get their vacancies under control, and do some much needed improvements. Physically maintaining our properties has always been a struggle, and we are fortunate to have a good working relationship with the City of Altoona and are able to use our CHODO, which is the IDA Community Development Corporation, to secure funding through the City of Altoona's Home Program. This allows us to renovate IDA properties that are located within the city.
Creating new neighborhoods takes more than bricks and mortar. The dynamics of group living provides the opportunity to minister not only to the demands of shelter. IDA works with community agencies to offer assistance to families and individuals. On-site managers and supportive services coordinators are sensitive to the needs of their tenants. There are regular visits from healthcare professionals, and health screenings are available at no cost. Tenants groups gather frequently for potluck dinners, bingo, movie nights, and Wii bowling tournaments.
Okay, number one, for the 40th anniversary, I sold candy bars, and I made a profit of $304 selling candy bars. But I'm floor rep here. I belong to the Bikino. I go to bingo. I go to coloring on Sunday. We color with pencils, not crayons.
From the elderly to the very young, improved dwellings for Altoona have served them with compassion and innovation. Today, IDA is present in Blair County, Cambria County, Center County, and Clearfield County, with units totaling close to 1,000 and housing over 1,400 people. As IDA heads into the future, the job of providing dignified housing for our communities is never finished. IDA's success has been its diversity with customized projects to reflect changing needs. But the professional staff of 46 and volunteer board members totaling 70 have always shared a conviction to create a home for the soul and a shelter for the spirit.